Hello and welcome to my channel. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be doing a sketchbook spread on Frankenstein. As you saw, I'm starting off just sketching and mapping out where I want each portrait to go. I am going to be including Boris Karloff, Robert De Niro, as well as Jacob Eldori. I recently revisited the book and read it again. I remember I read it back when I was in middle school or high school. A long time ago. I read Frankenstein and I loved the book. What I found so relatable about the book when I first read it was the fact that he was prejudged just based off the way that he looks. But in reality, he's really not a bad person on the inside. But because of his outside appearances, people assumed that he was a monster. In the beginning, he was truly just trying to fit in with society, and due to those prejudices, he turned evil. Even his own creator couldn't stand the sight of him. And from there on, a life of crime. No, but seriously, as a teenager, I could definitely relate. And if you haven't noticed, I'm Black. So as a minority, you could imagine the prejudices that I've encountered myself, so I can have compassion for the creature. But truly, even if Victor did face his creature, I don't think that there would have been any difference just based off the way that he looks. Still don't think he would even be accepted by society. But of course, the whole situation could have been avoided if Victor had left well enough alone. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. What gets me is that Victor was working on this creature for 2 years. He finally brings it to life as he wanted. And then he completely abandons it. He gets sick, his friend nurses him back to health. Instead of facing the problem head on, he pretty much goes on vacation with his bestie and spends majority of the story wallowing in self-pity. Honestly, the best decision he made out of the entire book was to not go through with making a companion for the creature. If only he had those same thoughts when he did it the first time. But anyways, I'm starting off with Boris Karloff. I'm going to be using a mixture of different alcohol markers, so that's going to include Copic, Prismacolor, and Ohuhu. Be sure to check the description. I do have all the list of supplies that I used in this video, including what I used to film it as well. Once I have my foundation laid in with the alcohol markers, I do go in with colored pencils to start adding some definition and some blending and just kind of defining those shadow shapes as well. So now I'm working on the hair. I did go in with purple as well as brown on top of it. I think the way it looks against his green skin is really cool, and I just didn't want to use straight black I find that it just would look super flat if I did that. And it's kind of nice, the purples and the browns just peeking through the hair. I did also decide to go over his clothing with a light purple just because I felt like it just looked really flat with the gray, and his skin pops more with the purple against the blue highlights. Alright, so next I'm going to be working on Robert De Niro's interpretation of Frankenstein. I have to say, while I was doing this portrait, I was having so much trouble. I had faith and I knew where I was going with it, but things were just looking real shaky in the beginning. You definitely have to trust the process and have faith through the ugly stage. I think what's interesting about this particular version is when Elizabeth unfortunately faces her demise, Victor goes completely crazy and he decides to bring her back to life, which completely backfires, no pun intended, and she sets herself on fire. I was completely not expecting that because it doesn't happen in the book, which all of these adaptations that I am referencing aren't completely faithful to the book, which is okay. When it comes to movies, you definitely have to make things more interesting, more dramatic, keep the viewer's eye and attention, but that was definitely a whammy. And as you can see, I'm going in with colored pencils, starting to work our way out of the ugly stage and start really building on this character as we are closer and closer to getting a believable likeness. So I pretty much did the reverse on what I did to Boris. I went ahead and made his clothing green, and then I did the highlights with pops of a nice bright purple. Now we're going to move over to Jacob's interpretation of the creature, which I recently saw the new Frankenstein movie on Netflix. I had not seen it, so I was super late to the party, but I really enjoyed it. Although there were a lot of changes from the book to the movie, I did not mind those changes whatsoever, especially after I got to understand Guillermo's reasoning as to why he kind of used it as more of a autobiography of his own life and his own struggles and what he had gone through growing up and the struggles that he faced with his own father. I thought that was so nice and such a good interpretation on the story. Like I mentioned earlier, I could really empathize with the creature given the prejudices that he went through. So for Guillermo to kind of take this story and turn it into his own based off his own experiences, I thought was really cool. And although we may lose some nuances of the book, the movie really just highlights the cycle of trauma and forgiveness, and I think it's a wonderful lesson to be learned from the movie and his take on Mary Shelley's story. Not to mention the eye-catching visuals of it all was just so beautiful. Much like the last portrait, I was very concerned about this one. His skin tone was pulling very blue and cool, so I wanted to go in and add some warmth to his skin tone. I did go ahead and place a background behind him so that I can later create a cold, snowy environment. I decided to go ahead and pull on more of the oranger side for his hair. Since his skin tone was pulling so blue, I decided to go for a more like terracotta orange color just to make him pop a little bit more. So this particular sketch was of the creature when he had ran away from Victor's, I don't know what you want to call it, his lair. His lair. And he made his way through a forest where he was exploring, and I just wanted to capture that moment. As I was defining the scars on his head, for some reason it just reminded me of Nebula from Marvel. But same process as before, we did the initial layout with markers, and we're just going over that with colored pencils to start building those layers and values. So now I'm just creating his environment in the forest, just adding some trees and some grass around him. I did want to include Elizabeth in this spread, as she does play an important role in the story. In Del Toro's version, she does view the creature as this pure soul, which that's really how he's depicted in the story. And in the end, although she does face her demise, it's not by his account. And truly, she becomes his bride, if you will. Which, speaking of, I saw that there is a new adaptation for The Bride of Frankenstein of a movie called The Bride. I'm interested to see what they do with that character, what type of personality that she'll have. In the original Bride of Frankenstein, we don't get introduced to her until the end of the movie, and she faces her demise, so we really don't get to see her character develop. It'll be interesting to see what direction they go into with her character. So back to Elizabeth, I'm going to be coloring her hair with a nice saturated orange and doing the highlights for her hair in yellow. I do go in with a dark brown colored pencil just to give her hair some more definition and the more darker parts of her hair and the shadow areas. Once we're finished up with Elizabeth, I do move on to including Walton's ship into the spread, since it's an important part. If we didn't have Walton's letters to his sister, we would not have known the story. Unfortunately, I couldn't capture every moment of me doing Walton's ship because my hand was in the way. But anyway, to finish things up, I did go ahead and add some electrical equipment and the iconic "It's Alive" saying to finish up the sketchbook spread. I hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.